Hi there, and welcome back to rLounge. Sports can bring out the worst in people, and generally, we accept it as part of the competitive psyche and process. If you've played sports at any level, you've likely acted out in an embarrassing manner. Today, we catch up on our sports facts. Not the stats, the points, or the records, but the racist siblings and the overbearing dads who think they know everything. Puck drops at 7. Up first, being a hockey fan doesn't give you the right to be a huge witch. Am I the a-hole for calling my boyfriend's sister a witch? My boyfriend, both 18, comes from a hockey-obsessed family, and that's saying something considering we live in Canada. I don't know crap about hockey except like the Maple Leafs haven't won a playoff in years. I don't know. I also know like the names of good-looking hockey players that sometimes show up on TikTok. My boyfriend doesn't care. He does plan on making me a hockey fan though. Anyways, I was a tiny bit scared to meet his family since his friends made a big deal out of how intense they were as hockey fans, but they were all pretty chill. I did get teased lightheartedly, but they were nice. Except his older sister, 28. She started asking me hockey trivia questions that I clearly didn't know the answers of and kept mocking me. She then sort of looked me up and down and said, "You're one of those girls, aren't you?" I asked her what she meant, and she said I was a girly girl considering how much I dressed up for a casual family dinner. I asked her why that was an issue. She said it wasn't, and all his girlfriends have been girly girls, but at least they were pretty. I was really hurt by that. I asked her why she was being so rude, and she told me that she was just telling the truth. Apparently, my boyfriend has a type, and I don't fit that. He also had standards and dated people on his level who, despite their girliness, knew the basics of hockey and were actually pretty. I was confused, hurt, and annoyed, and ended up calling her an effing witch under my breath. Unsurprisingly, she heard it and started yelling at me and said that I better treat her with respect or else. I just said whatever and waited for my boyfriend. He was trying to find something in the basement. I stuck to him the entire night, but his sister kept glaring at me, and before I left, she told me that she was just being honest and telling me how incompatible we are. I had no right to call her a witch, and she wanted me to apologize. I said no and left, but she found my Insta and sent me pics of his exes to prove her point and said, "Now where's my apology?" I haven't answered yet, but I'm conflicted. I know I'm not his type, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I also feel like I don't have to apologize since she was being a massive witch, but I guess she wasn't wrong and was indeed telling the truth. I don't know. I'm just hurt. Am I the a-hole? Edit. My boyfriend isn't aware of anything that's going on, and my friend who told me to post on here just read this and told me that I'm missing a very important piece of information. I'm brown. My boyfriend and his family are white. Let's get some opinions from the audience. Chap Steve 711 says, not the a-hole. If she was just telling the truth and expecting you to handle it, she can likewise just deal because you were just telling the truth. The additional pylon says, not the a-hole. That edit at the end is huge. His sister's a racist. Tell your boyfriend and watch closely how he reacts to see if the relationship should continue. Our next commentary comes from Fool Me Once, Shame on You. Not the a-hole, and I absolutely hate that word and rarely, if ever, use it because I don't think that gendered words should be used as slurs. But be damned if that woman didn't deserve it. I'm Canadian, old enough to be both of your moms, a very bright, accomplished woman and a former model when I was your age, and I don't know a dang thing about hockey, nor do I care. I never have, and I never will. Find it unbelievably boring. Can't tell the players apart for all the padding and uniforms and helmets. Could not care less. And you know what? Contrary to what that ridiculous, almost 30-year-old woman thinks, it doesn't say a dang thing about my character, or yours. Her comment about being on his level? What the F does that even mean? What does she think a level is? Is a meaningless insult meant to make it sound like he's, what? Something special because he likes hockey and knows the rules and players? So do millions of other people. Don't make him special, or her. It's just a sport, and I have no issue with the people who love it. I'm very happy that they have something they enjoy, just as I am for anyone else with a hobby they love. But the fact that she thinks that being hockey fans makes them magically special and on some other level from you or anyone else, I'm literally snickering. My friend, not only was she rude as F to you, she's delusional. Also, maybe a little racist, but even if she isn't, it doesn't matter because she has no manners and she's way too old to think that literally just being a hockey fan gives her the right to treat other human beings like garbage. Delusional and ridiculous. It's just hockey. You were rude, but it was absolutely called for, not the a-hole. The OP replies, "Firstly, you sound really cool and I admire you already. Secondly, my boyfriend's actually a hockey player and so is his father. But again, so are loads of other people. It truly is just hockey. And his sister doesn't play. So yeah, you're right. Thanks for the comment. I just have to say it again though. You sound so cool." Honestly, OP, who gives a crap what your boyfriend's sister thinks because she clearly has no idea what she's talking about. She's old enough to know better. I'm so sorry you had to be subjected to that type of behavior. It's disgusting and totally uncalled for. You are most definitely not the a-hole, and don't you dare apologize. Stand your ground. I'd tell your boyfriend what happened and see what he says. He should be absolutely on your side. Quite frankly, he shouldn't need his sister's approval, and if she's going to act like that, she deserves to be called a witch because that's exactly what she is. Update. Firstly, sorry for updating so late. Life's been crazy and I just randomly checked Reddit earlier and saw a few people asking me for an update. But yeah, I don't use Reddit and was a tiny bit overwhelmed seeing the response I got. I also saw my post on TikTok, which scared the absolute crap out of me, but that's a story for another day. I got a lot of comments and advice. I firstly want to say thank you for being super kind to me. It was really heartwarming and gave me a little bit of courage to tell my boyfriend what happened. I eventually told him what happened and showed him the messages his sister had sent me. He just hugged me really tight and told me that if she ever says anything like that to me again, to tell him straight away. He made me block her and then called her right in front of me and told her to get the F out of his personal life and stop acting like such a creep. He informed me that his sister is barely in his life because of how she treats him and apologized for not telling me earlier. I was a little unsure of everything, to be honest, especially since coming to the realization that his sister's comments were rooted in racism. I asked him what he thought about me being a person of color. He told me that it's new to him considering he's been surrounded by white people all his life, but he loves me regardless. He said love, guys. I might have fainted. I know a lot of people think I should run, but I don't want to. I think I love him too. Yeah, we're only 18, come from extremely different cultures, and his sister is going to be a somewhat permanent thing, but right now, I think we'll be okay. He doesn't think that way, nor do his other family members. His mom's a sweetheart. If I ever get even the slightest hint that he's actually a terrible racist, and just like his sister, then yeah, I'm definitely leaving. But they aren't the same person, and I can recognize that. After all, my parents don't even know about our relationship because I'm scared of how they might act. It would be a bit unfair if I dumped him over the actions of his sister. Thanks again for all the sweet and supportive comments. I don't think you guys will ever understand how much I appreciate them. A couple more community reactions. First from Chef Boyardee Jr. Dude sounds like a keeper. Don't let his sister sway you from what, by all accounts, is an otherwise great relationship, especially if he has no meaningful relationship with her. And based on your original post, the rest of his family seemed cool. Really glad it worked out. Good luck to you both. Arctic Puppet chimes in. Yeah, we're only 18, which means you've got plenty of time. Either time to grow together and build a loving and happy future, or time to spend in a relationship that later doesn't work out and learn from it. The only thing your age means is that there's no need to rush things, but love doesn't have a universal timeline where things can only happen a certain way. I'm sorry his sister was so awful to you, but it sounds like he's doing right by you and standing up to her and her racism. Just remember, racism says far more about the racist than it does about the person of color, and none of those are good things. Love is love, no matter what age. Love is a beautiful thing and it makes us go crazy in the most chaotic and beautiful ways. I'm so happy he responded the way he did and totally called her out on it. I'm not surprised that he doesn't really have a great relationship with his sister. Turns out she's actually a witch to everyone. Again, I'm so sorry you had to be treated that way. It hurts my heart to know that her comments came from such a horrendous and disgusting and totally unacceptable place. I wish you both well. What do you make of his sister's behavior? Let us know in the comments below. Our next OP's twin sense saved her brother's life. Am I the a-hole for calling out my dad and stepdad? I, 16 female, have a twin brother, Cody. I do cheer and Cody does sports. We do these activities because we enjoy them, but Cody also puts in a lot of effort because he's constantly seeking approval from our dad and stepdad. The two don't care for each other, but are somehow the best of friends when it comes to Cody's sports. He does like 5 different ones because our dad likes hockey and lacrosse, while our stepdad prefers football and basketball. They both enjoy baseball. If he ever dares to quit a single one of them will throw a riot and accuse him of playing favorites. It's so dumb. Sometimes Cody's schedules clash or get so overwhelming to the point where he's laying on his bedroom floor for hours and dissociate. It's been like this since he was like 10. My mom and stepmom think it's just men being men and that boys enjoy sports, so Cody probably doesn't care, but like, there's a limit to everything, right? We were having a celebratory lunch for our older sister before she leaves for college, and both sides were there. The lunch ended at 2 p.m., and her sister asked if we wanted to go to the mall. I said yes, and Cody was clearly going to say yes, but her dad said he had baseball practice. Cody tried asking if he could sit out one day since he hasn't missed a single practice of anything in his life, but her stepdad joined our dad's practice makes perfect speech and backed out. They then tried using me as an example. "Oh, Ashley's never missed a day of practice and look at her, medals and trophies for days." I thought this was ridiculous. I've missed plenty of practices and Cody has more awards than me. I asked them if they were being serious and told them what I just mentioned. My dad kept telling me to be quiet, but I called him and my stepdad losers. They need to realize that Cody is a human being with limits, not a doll they can program or play with. Both of them were very embarrassed. My dad told me I was being very disrespectful. My mom joined in and said I was reading too much into the whole thing and that they're men and I simply won't get their dynamics. I call BS, but they're all saying I'm in the wrong and need to apologize. My sister agrees with me, but says I was disrespectful. Cody doesn't want to talk about it. Am I the a-hole? Just to make it clear, the practice was an informal one. Think of it as extra credit to strengthen specific skills. The opinions from the community start off with Vivid Rent 7730. Not the a-hole. It needed to be said, and it's sad that no one has said it before. Good for you for standing up for him. When your brother has a breakdown because of the pressure your dad and stepdad will be there, all confused as to why that's happened. Don't Scream I'm Scared says, not the a-hole. Somebody has to stand up for your brother, and since both mums in this scenario fail to do so, your brother is lucky to have a sister like you. Both your dad and stepdad are the a-holes in this scenario. They need to grow up and realize that your brother quitting a sport from either side, that doesn't count him as playing favorites. God, they sound so immature. Dirty Wet Dreams says this. Not the a-hole. You're a good sister. I wish I could give you a hug. Please give Cody hugs and let him know that you were there for him. He probably wants love and approval from his fathers and they can't put their egos aside. Keep speaking up for him if you have to. It seems your mom doesn't understand either. I find there's a lot of power in trying to word things in a polite yet brutal way. I'm very hot-headed myself and curse like a sailor when I'm mad, so it does take practice. A lot of adults will think that a teenager is rude, etc. just because bad language is used and they will brush everything off. So the best you can do is think of a way to say everything really politely so they can't even call you rude, while still telling them to put their stupid male egos aside and love Cody even if he chooses to do cheer. Like, what the F? How can someone do so much and even be a kid? When does he have time to just chill and be with friends? The OP replies, "Aw, thank you. I'm going to find Cody right now and give him a massive squeeze. Thanks for the advice. I'll keep it in mind for the future. And as for your question, he literally doesn't do anything but practice and sleep. He'll forget to eat some days because of how tired he is. There is absolutely no way he has time or even remembers to hang out with his friends. It's especially bad in the summer because at least he can goof off during school." I don't think you're the a-hole in this case, OP. I think you're raising a really great point and someone needs to stick up for your brother. He needs someone on his side. For your mother to chalk it all up to, "It's men being men," is ignorant and ridiculous. It's 2022. We need to open our eyes and ears to what our kids are telling us. If your brother's getting so overwhelmed to the point of laying in his bedroom floor for hours, there's a definite issue here. If you saw your sibling or your friend behaving this way, what would you do? Update. Wow, people, I had no idea my post was going to get so big, but I'm extremely appreciative of all the comments. Some were incredibly kind, but some were really blunt, especially regarding my brother Cody. I read them all. So like I said, I called my grandma. I told her everything, and she was mad. She told me that I did a good job telling off my parents and that she's glad I told her. In the meantime, my mom finally realized that something was wrong and called me while I was out to tell me that there was something wrong with Cody. From what she had described, he was doing his disassociating thing. I was kind of upset that this was her first time seeing him in this state, considering I've seen it many times, but maybe after what I said, she'd been paying more attention to him. Then my grandma arrived, and she made my mom bring everyone over, dad, stepmom, stepdad, and she really gave it to them. She told them if they didn't get their priorities straight, then she'd be taking me and Cody. She also made it very clear to my mom and stepmom that their "it's a guy thing" thinking was shameful. My mom felt guilty, but my stepdad and dad threw a fuss. Mom then yelled at them and told them what she saw. That shut them up. I don't know, it was crazy to see my parents being schooled like they were little kids, but since they didn't want to hear it from me, well. My mom then talked to Cody, who, like a lot of you said, didn't want to quit any sport because this whole thing is so ingrained in him, but Mom put her foot down and told him that she was so sorry for letting this go on for so long, but he has to quit at least one sport. Cody said some harsh things back, but they resolved it thanks to Grandma. He's now only doing hockey and baseball. He was too afraid to tell our dads, so my mom told them instead, and they reacted, okay. Stepdad said, at least he's not quitting all of them, but shut up after my mom glared at him. This whole situation was really something, and it's crazy to think I triggered it. I felt sort of guilty for a while, but reading everyone's harsh but very true comments knocked some sense into me. Cody has no identity. He doesn't have a favorite song, movie, etc. It is now my mission to help him figure himself out. Hopefully he gets therapy, but the parents are too busy fighting over whose fault this is. Maybe I'll call Grandma again. I just showed Cody this post, and he was also thankful for the support. So yeah, thanks guys, and I'm glad I posted on here. Our first comment comes from Goldie Laughs. You are an awesome sibling. Cody is lucky to have you, and your grandma is looking out for him. Keep supporting him through this. He deserves to pursue the passions he wants because they bring him joy and not because it pleases others. I fear that if he doesn't, then he may always compromise his happiness for the acceptance of those around him, which can set him up for having toxic relationships in the future. I really hope all the parents self-reflect and do better for both of you so they realize their love should not be conditional on achievements or obedience. Hard Tyrant Dinosaur says, great to hear. Therapy is definitely something to advocate for. Dissociating is no joke. Helping him explore and find all those favorites will definitely be good for him too. 2 suggestions there. 1, don't hesitate to go backwards a bit and include some stuff he should have gotten exposed to at younger ages. For example, Disney movies. Just because he might have missed out years ago doesn't mean he still has to miss out. Everyone should be able to have a favorite childhood movie. 2, recruit some friends into the project. Maybe organize a weekly or bi-weekly movie, music, binge night. Rotate selections within the group. Plus, involving a few others in the curation process will give him a more eclectic mix of things to be exposed to. For all of you, for that matter. To say nothing of potentially becoming a memorable part of all your lives. Also, with your description of his life for years, how many friends does your brother have that aren't also teammates from some team or another? Recruiting friends into this may be one of the first chances he's had in far too long to build friendships not based on a sports team. That may be ultimately more rewarding than anything of discovering his new favorite movie or artist. Oh, I'm so glad you did what you did, OP. I'm so proud of you. It saddens me to hear that your brother was so afraid of the backlash of telling his parents the truth and totally taking a toll on his mental health and well-being. That's so dangerous. I'm so glad you were able to see your brother and what was really going on with him. Thank goodness for your grandma. This is huge for Cody. It'll give him time to himself and to rest and recharge. He needs this. He needed you. You more than likely just saved his life. What do you think? Thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below. Until next time.